What up, guys? Welcome back to Something on Sports podcast featuring Ricky, aka Mr. Non-Bias. On today's podcast, we have a fire topic for you guys today. We want to talk about basically the six most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. But before we get there, Ricky, how you doing, my boy?
Man, maintaining, man, living life, being non-biased as always.
Well, this one should be a fun one, just because we've kind of talked about this, and I've kind of thought about things different since we talked about this originally. So it should be a fun conversation today. So we'll get right to it. There's a list that came out where I guess there was a survey of 103 players in the NFL, and they voted on who was the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. The list consists of these six quarterbacks. Josh Allen was number one. Jalen Hurts was number two. Tua was number three. Justin Herbert was number four, Trevor Lawrence was number five, and Deshaun Watson filled out the list at number six. So let's just start right with the first quarterback, Josh Allen. So what do you think about Josh Allen being on this list?
I'm going to ask you, how do you think I feel about Josh Allen? I've been preaching this for how many years, man? So I just want you to know that now the people finally see what I see. Josh Allen is a great product of what he has become of the system. I mean, he is so overrated. He's been overrated his entire career. He has been, ever since he came from North Dakota, whatever, North Dakota, right? North Dakota? No, that's Carson Wentz. He came from one of the small schools.
Wyoming. He came from Wyoming.
One of the small schools, Wyoming. I'm sorry. But ever since he came from there, people have been on him because he's the prototypical size quarterback. I mean, he got Stephon Diggs and he got what's the coach name? Was it Dayball?
No, they got I can't remember what the coach's name. I remember what he looks like.
I'll do some research on that. But when that coach came, he had a tremendous season. That's when he made it all the way to the conference finals. He had that battle with
Patrick Mahomes,
with Patty Mahomes, and he had a hell of a game. But at the same time, after that, man, he's been an interception machine. He's been a turnover machine. If he played for Dallas Cowboys, he would be Dak Prescott. And I think Dak is 10 times better than, well, I ain't say 10 times. I think Dak is better than Josh Allen, for my humble opinion. I really think that he had a better career than Josh Allen. So I think the people who have voted, and I agree with those folks, that he is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. He hasn't accomplished anything. Nothing. I mean, at all.
So I disagree. I'm kind of think he's properly rated. So I don't think that he's underrated, and I don't think that he's overrated. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many people that think he's overrated, but there's so many people that think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. So I feel like he's appropriately rated because some people think he's already overrated. So it's not like that's a surprise. It's not like it's a conversation that hasn't been had. For me, I had to think about this for a long time because I think that he does get a pass to throw all these interceptions that a quarterback like Dak wouldn't. Dak had one interception every year, and that was the year he broke his hand, and the media just destroyed him, right? But if Josh Allen throws 18 interceptions, or if Josh Allen throws, a ton of interceptions, it's okay. But what I will say is I don't think that Buffalo's team, their offense was that great. I mean, they had Stephon Diggs, but Gabe Davis, for me, is just a decent receiver. Khalil Shakir is just a decent receiver. He's only had Kincaid for 1 year, who I think Kincaid's going to go off, next year. But they never really had a running game. So they had Devin Singletary, they had James Cook, and it was James Cook. James Cook only got off last year. That was his first year.
I was about to say, because they took the ball out of his hand last year, and they started doing a lot better.
Yeah, well, he still rushed the ball a lot. So if we look here, Josh Allen.
I can't take that away from him. He got his legs, yes, but as a quarterback, I mean, they made him the number 2. Like since that year when he went to the AFC Championship, they made him every season. He's the number 2 quarterback that came out of the draft. I mean, out of the coming in the preseason, it's gonna be Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen every year.
Let me ask you this then: do you think Josh Allen's a top 5 quarterback?
I'll answer that question a little later. I got to think about it a little bit.
That's fine. I'll give you that. For me, I think Josh Allen's a top 5 quarterback. So I'll give you that now. I don't think that there's 5 quarterbacks better. I would have to do a little bit more thinking. about who I'd put in front of him. But
so that's my point. That's my
yeah,
point. I have to put Zeus because he is not definitely he's not the bottom tier of the quarterbacks
no,
at all.
no,
But I do say media overrates him instead and puts him at a pedestal that I do not believe that he's at.
well, I feel like what a lot of what hurts him is that he's going against Patrick Mahomes, who is the best quarterback in the league. So you remember that playoff game, they ran all the way down the field, they scored, they had the lead with like 20 seconds left, right? 21 seconds left. Patrick Mahomes drives down the field and knocks him out of the conference championship game. So I feel like Josh Allen performed well enough. With 21 seconds, your defense has to be able to stop somebody because they had to score a touchdown. So it was like he drove him all the way down. It was the craziest ending of the game I ever seen in my life.
That was amazing. I got
amazing,
that. But that's
Patrick
Mahomes, though.
Right. And so if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen would have had at least a Super Bowl appearance. And that was the year that didn't they play Tampa Bay played San Fran? Buffalo had a fighting chance against Tampa with Tom Brady. But Buffalo would have had a fighting chance because when San Fran played them, both their tackles were injured. You know what I'm saying? So they couldn't protect Mahomes. Mahomes was getting beat down that whole game because he had no protection. So Buffalo would have stood a better chance to play against them in that series.
I 100% agree with that because that was a very, very unfair to the Kansas City Chiefs that year because Patrick Mahomes hike. Run.
Right. He didn't have time to fight. Right. You got Tyreek Hill, but you don't got even enough time to look over at him because the defensive ends and the linebackers are on you. So
yeah, and Tampa Bay defensive line was crazy that year.
And
I was getting after him. But I say he is top 5. I get back to your question. I think he is a top 5 quarterback. But again, you can be top. I still say he can be top 5, but I still think he's overrated due to the way they speak on him and the way the way they talk about him. They make him seem as he's Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not Mahomes. He's not Mahomes.
But it was like a 1A, 1B, and then now they're putting Burrow into that category. Burrow thorough. I like Burrow.
Burrow's cold, but he can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy.
So I can't put Burrow above Josh Allen because he can't stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like Josh Allen has done. Josh Allen's played 5 years and he's played in 10 playoff games. So that's an average of 2 playoff games a year. You know what I'm saying? That's not. Maybe he's played a little longer than that. I'm sorry.
I look at Burrow and he's played every year that he's played. He's at least in the conference championship. If he's starting to finish the season, he played in the conference championship. I put him above Josh Allen. I guess availability is the best ability, but at the same time, skill wise, talent, me looking at it, I'm taking the 3. I put him at 4. I'm be honest. The 3 that I'm taking above, I put Patty, Burrow, and Dak above him.
I would put.
And Lamar. Oh, I forgot about Lamar.
I was going to say Lamar, but I put him after Burrow, and I put him before Burrow, and this is the reason why. Burrow has T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and then a solid defense. So it's like he has all of these weapons around him when Josh Allen is the weapon, other than Stephon Diggs. But who's a better receiver right now, Jamar Chase or Stephon Diggs? Jamar Chase. Today. So it's like all of his weapons were better than Josh Allen's weapons, which again, we talked about earlier before we got on the podcast. Players are coaching. Well, you got to have the players to get you to, the promised land. And they just didn't have the players, bro. They just didn't have the players.
I agree with that. I agree. I agree to disagree, but I still don't think. I think he's uber talented, but he's a turnover machine. And if anybody else was having turnovers like Josh Allen, they're tarnished. He reminds me of another person on this list, Jalen Hurts.
I was literally about to transition right into Jalen Hurts, man.
He reminds me of that, like that same thing. Like Jalen Hurts has had one significant season, bro. Out of since he's been in the league, he has one significant season that he's played very good ball, and all the rest of them, he's been pretty meh. You know what I'm saying?
I think, but here's where I differ between comparing the two just a little bit, is because when you're looking at these players like Josh Allen in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna get you touchdowns. So he's thrown for 21 touchdowns to 4 interceptions in the playoffs, right? That's a good touchdown to interception ratio, especially when we're talking about his turnovers, because in the playoffs, at least he's not turning the ball over. They're not losing because of Josh Allen every game. You know what I'm saying? But then when we look at Jalen Hurts, Jalen Hurts, granted, he's played half the amount of games, but he's only got 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So it's like, bro, you only got a touchdown a game passing in the playoffs. They winning, and it ain't because of you. You know what I'm saying?
But he
Like,
also last year playoffs, you can't really say nothing about his last year playoffs appearance because he only played one game.
right.
But he didn't throw any interceptions in that game. So,
but they looked horrible. You know what I'm saying?
It was awful from what week that was when they first lost that game. From then on, they was awful. Like their team did not. But again, like last year when he was overrated and the team was overrated. I was talking about that last year. Like he's there, they can't keep winning the way they was winning last year, and it came to fruition.
You talking about Philly?
In the Philly.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and transition to Jalen Hurts then. I guess we already both know where we stand at with Jalen Hurts. Is he overrated or not? I say yes. And part of the reason I say yes is, we watch these shows, right? So I hate watching like First Take and stuff like that because sometimes their opinion be so awful.
You know who I know is Speak.
Well, what they say, yes, yeah, Acho's fucking and
no
LaShawn McCoy,
shady.
Both of those two together though. But with Jalen Hurts, they say that, oh well, last year was just a bad season and it was the outlier season. No, not really.
Not at all.
Not at all. If you look at Jalen Hurts, his first season, they didn't even think he could throw the football. Remember that? That was like the thing. They was like, he couldn't throw.
Yep.
Second season, granted it's your second season, we're going to give you a little flack, but you only threw 16 touchdowns to 9 interceptions.
Yep.
And then you had a quarterback rating of 87, right? And then you had a phenomenal
3,000 yards passing.
Right. And then you had a phenomenal season. You know what I'm saying? In 2022, I'll give you the credit for the running and all that other stuff. Your quarterback rating was 101. You got your completion percent up, all that other stuff, right? But then he goes back to just having another crappy season. You know what I'm saying? 23 TDs to 15 interceptions. They said Dak was washed up when he had 15 interceptions. Jalen Hurts those 15 interceptions with a straight hand. You got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert, you had DeAndre Swift, you have all these weapons, and you can't get them the ball. So for me, I think Jalen Hurts is overrated until he puts together a few great seasons, not just one great season. You need a few,
I 100% agree with you. I really can't even add any more to what you just said besides everything you just said. Because I mean, even he hasn't thrown for 4,000 yards in his career.
And you have 2 of the best receivers in the league. You have 2 top 20 receivers, and you can't throw for 4,000 yards.
Right. So and when that, I hate to keep saying my boy but they just do him so wrong in the media. When he throws for 5,000 yards, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They look at him.
Yo, they said that Dak was Pat Staten last year, but he got pulled in the fourth quarter of like 10 games. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he got pulled out the game. So he was not Pat Staten. What are we talking about here?
They try to add again, just like Josh Allen, they add Jalen Hurts rushing yards, and a lot of those was a yard and a cloud of dust push when he got touchdown. So I just don't think I hope he does well, just not against the Dallas Cowboys, because I root for be honest, my African American quarterback. You know so
I'm not really. I've become less of a hater in sports over the years. So like, I'm not gonna watch sports and like just hate teams unless it's Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. They can eat EAD, baby. You know what I'm saying? Eat a whole dick. And I don't really like Washington or New York either.
They just don't matter anymore.
Yeah, we just beat them every year. So it's the Eagles and the Niners. Yeah. I hate y'all so much.
It's something about the Niners, though. We can beat the Eagles. We beat the Eagles yearly. It's just something about the Niners. They just got our number, and it's hurtful.
And the crazy thing,
speaking of the Niners, that's another one that
let's go. Let's just go in order first, and then we'll talk about the honorable mentions. So then they have Tua on the list. I'm gonna let you answer this one first. You think Tua is overrated?
I don't think I think he's properly rated. I don't think anybody's on top on like saying Tua is this or that, or he's not this or that. I think he's properly rated. I think Tua is a decent quarterback. He's not, I don't think he's an elite quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He does have 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the league. And when he's healthy, Tua performs.
Right.
Except for when he's cold.
Right. But that's a hard one.
but so I think he's properly related. Like I said, because I don't see people dogging Tua because of what he is, or I don't think he's being put on top of the mountain saying he's this or that.
Right.
When he was performing, they were saying he was an MVP candidate. When he started sucking, he wasn't no MVP no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even when like MVP conversation started, it was like, is it him or is it Tyreek Hill for MVP? They never even gave it to him. They was sharing it with Tyreek Hill. So
Right.
I think he is definitely I think he's properly rated where he should be. So I don't think he's overrated.
I think most people have Tua somewhere between 10 to 12, top 10, top 12. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to round out the end of the top 10, or he's going to be like 11th or something like that, you
Right.
know? So with that being said, Tua had a rough start to his career. You know, he came in with the hip
Injuries.
injury, so
Yep.
he had to get that right. And then the whole freaking concussion gate where Brian
Right. But you
Flores,
skilled
right? They almost
the
killed
part.
Tua, right? And
What's
even
his name? The
Brian
coach,
Flores,
Brian.
Brian
Yeah,
Flores.
yeah, Brian
Yeah.
Ford. Like he did not like Tua.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he didn't. He didn't. He did. They talked about that. I was watching a first take today where they were like, because I'm kind of in the middle with the whole Brian Flores thing. It's like if he was saying all that nasty stuff to Tua while you're putting him out there to get concussions, they probably should fire you because this is their franchise quarterback. But Mike McDaniel doesn't deserve all the credit for the Miami Dolphins because when Flores was the coach, they didn't have Tyreek Hill. They didn't have Jalen Waddle. They didn't have all these weapons, and he was still going. Like he went 10-6 or something, you know, and just missed the playoffs.
he was
So
a defensive minded coach,
right,
and Tua needed a Mike McDaniel. And you can't call Tua a loser or he sucked. Like he went to Alabama and went to national championship. You know what I'm saying? Like
Tua ain't never had a losing season, or
ever.
he doesn't have. He's never. You know, he's missed games and stuff, but
Right.
his record 6-3, 7-5, 8-5, 11-6. So he's 32-19. He's got a good quarterback record. He just does what he does, bro. He's just, you know, he did throw 14 interceptions. So you know, we have to get on him for that. But again, we're not putting Tua in the tier of Joe Burrow and Josh
Josh
Allen. I don't,
Allen,
you know.
and yeah, they're
So
not doing that.
right, right, right.
I don't
You
feel
know,
they're doing that anyway.
I don't
So
either. I don't
I
either.
don't see how he would be considered overrated. You know what I'm saying?
Tua
But
was my quarterback in fantasy football last year. I got him again this year because I know he puts up numbers. You know, you see my team name of my team. You played Tua win the game. You know
yo,
what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. I'm cool with Tua being rated where he's typically at, where everybody puts him at in the quarterback rankings. I wouldn't
yeah, I
say he's
definitely
overrated.
wouldn't put him like you said 10 to 12. I said 10 to 15. It's around that same range. But I don't think he's like. I don't think I don't see nobody else saying he's a top 5 quarterback. So I don't
Right.
see how but again, it's the players, and the players the one to said it. So I don't know. They play the game, so they know a little more than I do.
Yeah, me too. I'll give you that. Hey, I'm not one to argue with the players unless the player is just an
Ever.
idiot. Sometimes like Rashad McCants, he be having some awful takes
Bro,
sometimes, you
I
know.
hate that dude, bro. I don't, bro. I like listen to that dude talk. I be want to talk, see him and just smack him. So like, bro, you a dummy, bro. Just call him a real dummy for real.
And I'm a North Carolina fan. You know how much he be hurting me to claim, you know. Uh,
When that
it
Joker
is.
said, I would rather have Reggie Miller career over LeBron James career, bro, I said, this dude right here is just ridiculous.
All right, so let's go ahead and move to the next quarterback on the list. We got Justin Herbert. What do you think about Justin Herbert? Do you think he's overrated or do you think he's underrated?
Overrated.
Okay. Why do you think he's overrated?
I really think he's over. He's one of those prototypical quarterbacks that they consider that this and that. He's never won anything, but he's always preseason top 5 quarterback in the league. He's always going to do this when it's Herbert, and he had a squad.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Squad. There's no reason he shouldn't have been winning. And the thing when was that not last year, the year before last, when Jacksonville went in
That's what I'm
there.
pulling up right now. That's literally what I'm pulling up right
Bro,
now. When this dude went into halftime with a 27-7 lead, and then they put 3 points on the board and lost by a point. Yeah.
so that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like he is very, very, very much so overrated to me. Like
I
I remember. I don't know if you remember our playmakers lounge days when we was talking about that. I always said Justin Herbert and Josh Allen are 2 of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league.
I think that I was gonna say that I think that Justin Herbert is overrated. That's how I was going to start. But where do we put Justin Herbert at on the scale of quarterbacks? I would say
He's
Justin
top
Herbert.
10.
Yeah, he's top 10. So most of the time, people are going to have I don't like when people put Justin Herbert above like a Dak or somebody like that. Because again, if Dak would have gave up a 27-7 lead, you know what I'm saying, in Jacksonville, well, that was their first good year. So if he would have gave up,
Trevor Lawrence threw like 4 interceptions in the first half or something crazy like that. It was like four turnovers in the first half.
Yeah, but if I'm not going to say Tua is overrated, I don't know if I'm going to say Justin Herbert's overrated.
I don't see how.
I'm torn. I'm torn on that one because he does have losing seasons. You know what I'm saying? So his record. I guess he's got a losing record too. You know what, man? Maybe I'll go with the overrated for this reason, because when we talk about Tua, Tua's career record is 32-19. When we talk about Justin Herbert, his career record is 30-32, and he's had weapons. They had Mike Williams, they had Keenan Allen, they had Austin Eckler, they had, I forget what the tight end's name was at the moment, but they had a decent tight end. They had Jesse Palmer as the third receiver. Then they got Quentin. What's his last name? The dude they just Quentin Johnston. He couldn't get Quentin Johnston the ball, and then when he got injured, Quentin Johnston started looking good. So
what's gonna happen? I'm gonna base my decision on what happens with him this year. Now he has no talent.
Yeah.
He ain't got no talent now.
They got Lad McConkey,
but he got John. He got what's his name? Harbaugh.
Yeah. He's got Harbaugh. But what's going to save him a little bit is that Harbaugh likes to run the ball.
Yep.
So he's not going to be. Yep. Yeah, they're going to like what happened to them in the playoff game with Jacksonville wouldn't happen with Jim Harbaugh at head coach, because Jim Harbaugh is going to run the ball out instead of continuing to let you throw the ball down the field. We're not stopping the clock, bro. We're going to keep the clock running, and we're going to get this game over as quick as possible so we can get to the next round. Obviously you want to cut down possessions when you're winning. So I know you know that, but I feel maybe I'll say he's overrated just because of his record and what he inherited when he got to the team.
Then when I do my judgment about the overrings, I watch a lot of sports TV. You know what I'm saying? So I watch the debate shows, I watch the podcasts, I watch all those guys when they're speaking about these different players and how they speak on these players. And the way I look at them, like, why are you speaking on this player and when they've never done anything? And like I said, Justin Herbert, he's another one that he always considered a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Right.
And he keeps losing. He keeps losing. Like, what do you base on just because he can throw the ball 90 yards down the field, or just because he built 6'5"? Or I just don't understand it. That's why I say he's overrated. I think he's a decent quarterback. Decent. But I don't think what he is what everybody considers touts it as him to be.
So before we get to the next quarterback, I this is why we probably needed to have this. Actually, no, I don't want to forget this topic though. So, like, this is what frustrates me about this with Dak's contract situation. How everybody talks all this trash about Dak.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But I'm saying Justin Herbert just got paid $55 million. You know what I'm saying?
Tua did too.
What's that?
Tua and Trevor Lawrence.
Right. And they've all produced less in the postseason than Dak has. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Josh Allen made to win the LC championship.
But here's one thing I will say. What I think is the weirdest thing about where we're at with sports is like somebody can make a conference finals. Like if Dak made a conference finals, they would be like, oh, okay, they would lay off of him, right? It's only one more game. It's only winning one more game. So you're saying that one game is the difference between somebody being a good quarterback and not? Like, you know how many quarterbacks don't make it there? Or like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes have basically had a monopoly on the Super Bowl for like the last, the last 8-9 years, And you have a couple quarterbacks that have won, in there, but basically it's been all freaking Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, So, and Matt Stafford won one, and I'm not gonna waste my time thinking about it right now.
Yeah, because it's hard. Because since Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, it's been, like you said, it's been Matt Stafford. They won one, and who?
Because how
hard it is.
What's that?
That's how hard it is to think about it.
Right.
Like 2 years ago, 2 back to back is Patrick Mahomes. Then you had
Stafford. Then you had Brady. Then you had Mahomes. Then you had Brady. You know what I'm saying? So it's like y'all are hating on these some of these quarterbacks for not winning, but
nobody's winning.
Right. And 2 people winning, So yeah. So let's go ahead and Move one
And
over.
that's one of my biggest gripes too. Like you sitting here talking about you don't want to pay this dude because he's not winning, but who is besides the $1 billion on quarterback?
Right.
So
The $500 million quarterback and
yeah,
Tom Brady. Yeah. So
$1 billion quarterback and the GOAT. Besides them, who else is winning? So you can't use that as a argument of why not to pay somebody. Or I think they need to stop paying all these breaking contracts anyway. Like just because you're next up and you're the franchise quarterback. Nah, if you suck, you get paid what you
right. Right.
should deserve.
And I think that they need to cap the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be they need to structure their contracts like the NBA. So it needs to be like you're capped out at, you know what I'm saying, $40 million at this position, and then trickle all the money down to the rest of the players on the team. You know, and I understand maybe the quarterback gets paid the most. I understand that. And then like, you trickle it down from there. But the linemen that are protecting the quarterback need to get paid. Them running backs that are protecting the quarterback, they need to get paid, and they got short careers, And then you got the defense; they need to get their money too because they stopping the other team. We saw what happened when we had Tony Romo and we had no defense. We could put up all the points in the world, but our defense couldn't stop nobody. So we
You talking
need
about Tony Romo? You talking about last year Dak Prescott? It's say the crazy part about it, bro. I don't understand. Like we could play. If our offense is humming, our defense is trash. If our defense is humming, our offense is trash. I just don't understand how they can't put it together. But
well, sometimes here's what I think. Well, I don't know if this will make sense, but I think a lot of times when our offense is just flying, the defense isn't getting a rest properly. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when our offense is bogged down, we're having these long ass drives. So we may not be scoring a lot, but it'd be like a 12 play, 8-minute drive, and the defense gets the rest. And so when they come back on the field, they're fresh and they're flying around and all that other stuff. I just think when we score too fast, they didn't get the proper rest. We scored in 2 minutes. These niggas still tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, we both know it's easier to play offense as far as for stamina than defense. Like playing like the defensive line is like super hard, because you're giving so much, you're trying to push one person forward while the offensive line is just trying to keep you away. So it takes a little more energy to play defensive line than offensive line. And like, cornerbacks, receivers come out. You know what I'm saying? They take receivers out and stuff like that. The cornerback is on the field the whole damn fucking game.
The receiver know what he doing. The cornerback don't. You got to figure out what he doing.
Chase him around, right? And then they get breaks. You know what I'm saying? Like the receivers don't typically play 100% of the game, so the cornerbacks do. So I think little nuances like that is why our team does never click the way it should.
But everybody, all 32 teams have that same issue. So
not really. Some of them teams have horrible offenses and just good. I mean, they don't all score like us, and we've been having the number one offense for years. So, but let's go ahead and get back on point. So let's go ahead and get to the next. I'm just gonna say he overrated. Deshaun Watson. This dude's played a total of 12 games in 3 years. Overrated, bro. And
go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
And you got 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and this is since you've been back. Your quarterback rating is about an 82. I think Deshaun Watson's overrated.
But who rates Deshaun Watson high?
Deshaun Watson gets paid $255 million, right?
That's Cleveland being dumb.
Yeah, you're right. The biggest guaranteed contract in the league.
That has nothing to do with his skill set, but who rates him as a top tier quarterback right now?
I think people rate him as a top 15 quarterback, and I don't even think he's that. I don't know if I even think he's a top 20 quarterback right now. I don't even know if I think he's a top 25 quarterback right now because he's only played 12 games in 3 years.
I don't rate Deshaun Watson in any conversations I speak on anytime. Like, so again, that's one of the people that I just can't say he's overrated because I don't. You know what I'm saying? If he get back to some of the things he did in Houston, then you can speak on Deshaun Watson. But right now, what's the use even saying his name? Deshaun Watson is trash right now. So how is he overrated? That's just my thought process.
Let me ask you this. If Deshaun Watson has a great season this season, what do you think he's going to be overrated or underrated?
It depends. It depends on how they look upon him. That's how they look upon him. I can't say. Like right now, I don't see why they saying he's overrated because what do you rate him? Are you saying he's a top 5 quarterback or
I don't even have him in the top 25, bro. He
That's
don't
what I'm
play.
saying.
He don't play
So,
football.
well, if that's the case, I guess he would be overrated because I think they would say he'll top 15, top 20.
Right. And I just don't see
Honestly, bro, with his Houston stats alone, I'll take him over Jalen Hurts.
I would not take him over Jalen Hurts because he doesn't play football.
Okay, you talking about availability? Okay,
Yeah. I mean, if you're not, I can't take a
but you
quarterback.
saying one thing, but one thing he was suspended 1 year, bro,
You're right, but that
and
still
then he
hurt
got
him.
hurt.
I mean, but still, you know what I'm saying? You can't. Availability is the best. You know what I'm saying?
Ability, I feel you, but I'm saying again, I don't see what they rate him as, so I can't say he's overrated or underrated. I just don't. Again, I don't rate him. He's not. But we talking football. Like Deshaun Watson's name does not come in conversations very often. It's my agent calling, bro.
It's my agent calling. He said we got to get off Deshaun Watson, huh? All right, so we got one quarterback that wasn't in the list, and
Overrated.
his name is Brock Purdy.
You forgot Trevor though.
Oh no, Trevor Lawrence. Well, shit. I guess we'll go to Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence, where do you rank Trevor Lawrence? You overrated or underrated? What's
Overrated.
that? Yeah,
Overrated.
I agree.
Overrated.
I agree.
And again, the same thing. Ever since he was in college, I've been calling Trevor Lawrence overrated. His freshman year in Clemson, he had a great year, and every year after that, his stats dwindled.
So here's the thing about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is like Jalen Hurts to me in a sense of, except for he hasn't gotten as far as Jalen Hurts, but in the sense of he had one good season, and then the rest of his season, I mean, last season was okay, but really it wasn't because they went. What did they go down?
He got hurt though. He got hurt. Once he got hurt, that's when their season went down.
Well, he played 16 games last year,
but he got hurt. I understand what you're saying, but he got hurt.
Yeah,
you can't use the excuse for Dak and then not use the same for Trevor.
It's a little different when it's your thumb and you can't
grip
the ball.
That was like 8-1 before he got hurt. That was ball.
Yeah, they was killing it, but then but you can't lose. You cannot lose to the Tennessee Titans and Will Levis in the last game of the season. That's going to get you into the playoffs, bro. You cannot, if you're supposed to be a top 10 quarterback, you cannot lose to the Houston Texans with Will Levis. And I don't even think Derrick Henry played in that game. So, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. They got murdered by Tajay Sharp in that game, though. He was going off at the end of that game. But I can't give it to him, bro. For me, he's overrated. He's
definitely overrated. I'm not saying that he's not overrated.
When you look at his numbers, if you take out his second season where he went to the Pro Bowl, he has 33 touchdowns to 31 interceptions. So yeah, bro. I mean, he had the one good year of 25-8, but if we just, that's the more, you can't make the exception the rule. So he's a turnover machine, and he just got paid, and we're not
55 million, bro.
Right, 55 a year, right? 55 a year. In 2 of his seasons combined, he has 33 interceptions or 33 touchdowns and 31 interceptions.
Bro, his first year, his QBR was 39.1.
I was about to go there next, but I was about to go quarterback rating. His quarterback rating for his career is 85, bro. That is garbage by today's standards. That wouldn't even get him on like the top 30 or 40 quarterbacks of all time. So I think he's overrated. I know they had one decent. Jesus, I forgot because he threw like 4 interceptions. I'm looking at his playoff numbers: 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. 72% quarterback rating in the playoffs.
Interceptions. He got fumbled. He had past 2 years he fumbled the ball 5 times. So add those to the turnovers too.
Yeah, he for me he's overrated. I thought he was good in college. I thought he was properly rated in college, but I think he's overrated in
college.
You said what?
I think he was overrated in college.
Here's why I don't know if I think he's overrated in college. Because look at Clemson now. So
no, you can't blame him on that because like Dabo right now, he's on that. I'm not doing that transfer portal, and that's not going to work. There's only 5 teams that does not do the transfer portal, and 4 of those teams are the military branches,
right?
In Clemson,
right. So he said the military branches. You're right though.
It's the only ones that because you can't transfer there. You know what I'm saying? They can't use the transfer portal,
right?
In Clemson, those are the only teams that have not used the transfer portal. That's what that is.
So
And
let's
that
go.
he don't like that NIL stuff.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to learn to like it.
Or
You
he's
got to pay
gonna
players,
learn to get fired.
right? You make $9 million a year, but you don't want players to get paid. That's in this day and age. At this point in life, we should understand why these players deserve nil, because it's $1 billion industry that's on the back of them, and
Bro.
they ain't going there to get no education. Like, I don't have time to like be like a scientist and then like still play football. You know,
No,
like
I'm finna give you a true Ricky Stuckey story, bro. So I don't know if you know this, but my brother-in-law is reason that the NIL exists, bro.
yeah,
He do you remember that when they had that big the FBI came, we got your playbook, we know what you did in all the grassroots football and then, I mean basketball, when they was going after all those coaches and things like that. My brother-in-law, he was one of the consultants for Adidas that got fed time because of that, bro. And soon after that, that's when NIL became a thing, bro. He had to do time after that. If you ever go look at what's that documentary on HBO? I'm gonna send it to you. I can't think of the name of it from top. The Scheme. Go watch The Scheme. You're a sports buff. You'll really enjoy that. Go watch The Scheme. And he got a book that I'll send to you. It's called The Black Market, and it's really really good reads. He's the one that got LeBron James his first $100 million contract with Nike when he was a consultant with Nike.
damn,
He
that's
found it.
dope.
He found it like another story. It's all but we talking about the NIL. He found it like when Zion Williamson was up and coming, like his dad wanted to coach. He was like, man, we can't do that. We can't do that. So he called his people, sent them over there to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, for an AAU team. Zion wasn't getting enough shine. So he took his dad took Zion off the Atlanta AAU team and said, I want to coach. I want to coach my son. So he started coaching his son. And that's when Zion became the powerhouse he is, because he put him around a whole bunch of the people that he played against.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
right.
And that's when, like, I'll get you that book, man. It's a really good read. But yeah, like my brother-in-law is the reason why NIL exists, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I guess we'll finish this up with the last quarterback who is not on the list, but he's an honorable mention, and it's Brock Purdy. Do you think he's overrated or underrated?
Overrated, bro.
Yeah, I agree too. And I know a lot of people will say, well, he's Mr. Irrelevant, but we're putting him in top 7 conversations when really
He was MVP conversation last
right,
year.
right,
Again, how can you be the MVP if you got another MVP candidate on your team?
right. Because
Like
Christian
CMC.
McCaffrey is the MVP, and then you got Debo, then you got Ayuk, and then you got Kittle, then you got Juice Check. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a great defense. You got a
Let's not
great
forget
offensive
about
line.
the man that just got paid today.
What's that?
Let's not forget about the man that just
Trent
got paid
Williams.
today.
Right. That's why I said the line. That's why I said just the line in general. They have a good line, you know? And so we saw what happened when McCaffrey got hurt or when Debo went down. They were losing games.
Trent went down. When Trent went down.
Well, not even before that, when it was, did Trent go down at the same time as McCaffrey and them? So when you lose a couple of weapons, you know, you can't do nothing, you know?
Sputter out.
Right. But you still have Kittle, you still have Juice Check, you still had what was their backup running back was dope last year. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And then you still have, you know, Ayuk. So you still have all these weapons, but you can't put up no points without McCaffrey and without Debo, you know.
They say his biggest flaw is that he holds the ball too long. So that's why I say Trent Williams is the biggest weapon on that team, because he gives them that time to be able to get that ball out. Because you know Shanahan's one of the greatest offensive minds ever, bro.
Ever.
If you look at Brock Purdy's numbers, comparing to Jimmy G,
they're a little better.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Last year was a lot better, really, but he doesn't turn the ball over. And so
I can pull up Jimmy G, bro. I think those things are very comparable, bro.
But when you're looking at his quarterback rating, he did have a fire quarterback rating of 113. But
to preface what I said, Jimmy G didn't have C-Mac. He didn't have them people in their prime like that.
Yeah, he got he just got injured, you know. He's injury prone, but they was going to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I think that Trey Lance is trash. So I get why they couldn't. I get why they couldn't make him work. He trash. He doo
That
doo.
dude, doo.
He doo doo. But San Francisco was so bad before Jimmy G got there, and then he just kind of turned the franchise around.
His rating, his last year there was a 103, bro. He had a one in 22. He had a 103. In 21, he had a 98. In 20, he had a 92. In 19, he had a 102, and he almost threw for 4,000 yards. So
there's a big difference between 102 and 113 though, or 111 though. That's a pretty big gap. That's like saying if my quarterback rating was 98, that's decent, but 90 is trash.
No, I didn't say. I said he was. I say comparable.
Okay,
I mean, Brock is. I think he's a little better than Jimmy G. I give him that. I'd say that. But again, he what has he done outside of the same thing Jimmy G done?
All right,
and he has way more weapons.
I wouldn't argue that, man. I wouldn't argue that.
And we see what Jimmy G do without out of Shanahan off offense.
Trash. Yeah, Jimmy. I think Jimmy would have been good if he stayed in New England though, too. Though
he had a 113 there.
Yeah, but he only played a couple of games.
Yeah,
but
I know.
But just the way that they ran offense and stuff like that, I think Jimmy would have been cool in New England because they had a line, and had Gronk and Edelman and all them. So obviously, it was smart to keep Tom Brady over Jimmy G because you still won some more Super Bowls after the fact when you were trying to trade, when Belichick was trying to trade or get rid of Brady and keep Jimmy G.
Brady went to go cry to Big Dad.
Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes, though, dog. That's what you got to do sometimes, you know. But I think that's a good ending point. I think we kind of did a good job of expressing our thoughts on underrated, overrated, properly rated, or whatever the case is. So, what do you got for the people before we get up out of here, Ricky?
Man, use your brain and stop listening to the media folks when you start looking at these games. If you don't look at the games, don't speak sports.
Right.
Because it's annoying.
Right.
To us, Ash will follow.
Well, that's what we got for you guys today. Make sure you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell. So every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. Appreciate you guys' time as always, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.